Jeannie says, hello, I am Catholic, but I work with a very faith-filled Protestant. When I told him how much I love the book of Tobit in the Bible, I was amazed he had even heard of it. He has not seen it in any Bible. I told him I would try to find out why and where the book came from. I'd appreciate your help. Thanks, Jeannie in Lincoln.
Yeah, thanks, Jeannie. I really appreciate the question. So, of course, the collection of books today that we call the Old Testament was not written all at one time and not by one author, but is a collection of many, many different books written by different authors in different periods, different places, over a long period of time. Many of them were written in Hebrew, some a little bit in Aramaic, and some of them were written in Greek or translated into Greek by Jews of the diaspora, and the diaspora refers to the Jewish people that left Judea, left and traveled to other centers in the ancient world, in the area of Alexandria, Egypt. And that those books that we find only in Greek manuscripts were associated with the Hebrew canon, which was also translated into Greek at the same time. And so that Greek translation of the Hebrew and those additional Greek texts of the Old Testament are called the Septuagint. And that's the version of the Bible that the apostles used and that the early church used. And when you read the New Testament cites the Old Testament about 95% of the time. When the New Testament quotes the Old Testament, it is quoting the Septuagint version of the Old Testament, which is the Greek translation of the Hebrew books and those additional Greek books that were produced in diaspora Judaism. And that includes, of course, the book of Tobit. Now, at the time of Christ, there was no such thing as a single Judaism like we think of today. Today you think of Judaism as a recognizable world religion. And even though there's diversity within Judaism, we know what we're talking about. The synagogue, the rabbis, the Talmud, that sort of thing. In the ancient world, there was no such thing. There were people who lived in Judea and associated themselves with the legacy of Abraham and Moses and David in a variety of ways. They had radically different understandings of what it meant to be the heir of Abraham's promise, and they constructed completely different kinds of religious lives for themselves, including different accounts of what were the scriptures. They had different canons of the Bible that were in competition with one another. And so there's, sometimes Protestants will say, well, you ought to just stick to the Hebrew canon because that was the original one. There was no original one in that sense. There were always competing accounts of what the sacred scriptures were. The Christian church has said, we're going to use the Bible that the apostles used, because that's the one handed to us by sacred tradition. That includes the book of Tobit. Now, in the Reformation era, many Protestant theologians began to have funny feelings about the 7, they're called deuterocanonical books in the Septuagint that are not in the Hebrew canon of the Bible. Quite frankly, because they were supportive of Catholic doctrine. And wanting to resist those Catholic conclusions, they thought it inconvenient to hold to those books. And so they came up with arguments against their canonicity, and they eventually rejected them from their canon of the Bible.
Appreciate that. Here is a quick question.